Hey everybody, it's Rachel. And again, as always, I want to thank those of you who have decided to stop by and listen to a few things that I have to say. So this is a multiple video day because again, the celebrity world is popping. And this video is going to be about my personal favorite topic of discussion on this channel, which is Prince Harry. As many of you may know, he has gotten multiple lawsuits pending right now in England over a phone hacking scandal against the Mirror News Group. Today was day one of the trial in which he is alleging phone hacking. Now, as I've disclosed in a previous video, I am a licensed attorney. I am not an attorney in Great Britain. So I'm going to be talking about a few things more from the perspective of American courts as opposed to British courts because I don't know what the law is over there. And so if any of you do know what the law is over there, please comment below. I would be very interested to educate myself in that a little bit more. But the big thing is that the court had ordered Prince Harry to be there today at the opening statements in case those opening statements went relatively quickly so that they could start moving forward with testimony, because it's my understanding that he would have been the first witness since he is the one that is making these allegations. And when Prince Harry did not arrive, the judge was mad because the one thing you don't do is violate a judge's order. If a judge tells you to do something, you better do it. And that goes for everybody. That goes for court personnel, that goes for the attorneys, that goes for the defendants, the plaintiffs, whatever. If they're ordering you, you got to do it. And even if it's something that you don't really want to do, who cares? Because it's the judge and they do have authority over you while you're in that courtroom. And so it's my understanding that the judge asked Prince Harry's attorney, where is he? And the attorney, from my understanding, basically said, well, he had some travel issues and that he was in town, but for some reason didn't make it to the court. And I understand that you may have taken a red eye and you got into London maybe an hour or two ago. I get it. You know, you're flying all the way from Los Angeles to London, and there may have been plane delays. It happens. But if you are actually in town and you're not going, that is a problem. Even if you're a few minutes late, he could have reached out to his attorneys and somebody could have gotten notice to them. I don't know whether or not they're allowed to have their cell phones in court. In American courts, attorneys are able to have their cell phones with them, not in federal court, but in most state courts, you can have your cell phone with you. So your attorney can look at the phone and tell the court, hey, look, I'm sorry, he just got off the plane. He's going to be 30 minutes late, to at least let the court know what's going on. But if he's in town, why aren't you there? Because as a person who, in a civil case, is pursuing an action, you would think that you would want to be present for all of the proceedings. Now, technically, in civil cases, you can allow your attorney to handle stuff, like motion hearings, and you don't necessarily have to be there, at least in the United States. But usually, if you are a party to a case, if you're the person who filed it as the plaintiff, or if you're the defendant, you want to be there because you want to know what's going on. You want to see the action. And the court may ask a question of you, or your attorney may need to ask a question of you, depending upon what's going on. And so for him, who has filed this action, not to be present is very, very bizarre. And I don't understand why he didn't think he needed to show up despite having been ordered by the court to be there. And I'm sure his attorneys probably had told him multiple times, make sure you're here. But obviously Harry doesn't care enough to be present. And I will be very curious to hear if he gets admonished tomorrow by the court. Because at least in America, the court has the ability to order sanctions if somebody violates a court order. That means maybe you're not allowed to testify. Maybe you're not allowed to testify about a certain aspect. You might be fined. I mean, there's a lot of different things that a court can do to punish you if you violate an order. And if this court said, be there, he'd better be there. So this is a very big deal for Harry. And also, too, on the other side of the Atlantic, back here in the United States, the Heritage Foundation, and I believe their case is tomorrow, is going before a federal court asking to be able to see the documents of Harry's immigration status, of what he actually put down when he was filing the paperwork to get a visa to live here. And I don't know what's going to happen, whether or not that will or will not be released. There are some privacy considerations when it comes to these matters that are protected by law. So the court may say no because the code says you can't, release these records to the general public. And the Heritage Foundation, even though they are a political action group, effectively, I mean, I know that they're a think tank, but that's effectively what they are. They're still the general public. It would be like if I decided that I wanted to get my hands on Harry's immigration paperwork, it would still have to go through, I'd still have to file the same motions, ask the same things as the Heritage group. But why would I, as Citizen Q, be allowed to have those over the Heritage Foundation? And so that's something that, the court's going to have to weigh as well. So I would be curious to see that. And the court may say none of it gets released. Maybe a redacted version gets released. Who knows? It's going to be totally up to the court. And so I would be curious as to whether or not Harry is going to have an attorney on his behalf present at that hearing, because this does involve him. So I would certainly expect an attorney to make an appearance on Prince Harry's behalf as his United States representative in a matter such as this. He may get, this attorney, if there is one hired, may get a few words in as to why it shouldn't be released because of, Harry's privacy, but most of it is going to be the federal government attorneys arguing that it should not be released, because that's my understanding that is their stance. So Harry's got a lot of court cases going on with some big things that are set to be happening tomorrow. So I'll be very curious about that and be following up with all of you on the status of Harry's court cases, because this is a big deal. This impacts a lot of stuff. And he's been pursuing these matters, well, in England, the private lawsuits he's been filing in England, he's been pursuing them really aggressively, because part of his goal is to change the British press. And we'll see what happens. A lot of these are kind of historical in nature, is my understanding, and it's also my understanding that the laws have changed and that the press has also changed the way that they conduct their business for the better, because that huge phone hacking scandal several years ago, specifically with Hugh Grant, really changed a lot and ended up bankrupting a paper. So other papers don't want to have that same thing happen to them. So we'll see what happens, but I will make another video when the time is right. So thank you all again, and I appreciate you stopping by. Bye.